Hi everyone, welcome. This is Miss Smoke, and this is Smoke to Trade's YouTube channel. I'm presenting in this video a weekly futures forecast for crude oil, gold, and Nasdaq. I trade all three instruments, and I want to share my weekly analysis to help someone in the YouTube community. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So right now, I'm on the crude oil in continuous chart on TradingView. I'm right now on the weekly time frame. And based on my analysis, I believe that crude oil is bearish and will continue to be bearish. Going into this quarter two. But since this is the weekly forecast, I just want to tell you my ideas for this week. So based off of last week's tariff announcements by 47, that sent crude oil from, if anyone remembers, from 72, I believe that the high, to now 60.45, because that was a previous day low. That was the low established on Friday. So that was a 16.35% decline. I think that crude will continue to go lower. I have here on the chart that there's like this will be like sell side equal lows. Now, it did wick below the lows here, but I would like to see some continuation. So I'm looking for continuation lower. Even if it's not closure low, I'm looking for continuation low. And I'm also looking for spec of retracement into this area for price to probably go lower. So that's what I'll be looking for the upcoming week. So I'm looking on Sunday, I'm expecting probably a continuation of Friday, which we were selling, and then retracement for us to go lower. So this is the weekly chart. Now if you come down to the daily, and again, it was a 16% decline, and then the 4 hours. So it looked like it was pushing up at the end of the market. But I'm still expecting, yes, I'm still expecting lower prices going into next week. And again, it still could be a bounce, but I am bearish on crude oil. And it's been making lows ever since the beginning of the year. It ran up. If you look at the, let's go back to the daily chart. At the beginning of the year, ran up to 87.3, and since then we have just been pushing lower every week. Low spike here, but every week in low, lower, low, 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 low. Had a little spike here in April. Well, this last week, and so now we're pushing lower. And again, I think we're just going to continue to trend lower. So expect a retrace. Do expect a retrace, right? Because price will always need to retrace at least 50% to gap or even more for lower prices. And since this is a major level that was taken out, you can retrace more than 50% into this area before going lower. So even if it retraces, let me use my fibs. then retraces, say 70%. So 70% is an area that I look for in crude. And oftentimes I've noticed that with crude, like it will retrace like to 70% and then go lower. But if not 70%, then 62, 50 or 60% before it goes lower. That's one alternative. The other alternative is price continues just pushing lower and then a retracement later on in the week. Price could continue to push lower because, again, we just received the tariff announcements and a shock to the market. So price can continue lower. I'm not saying it's going to continue there. The price could continue lower to this area. And then, so price could push lower. It's like 59, 57 area. And then price can retrace. And then price can retrace to 50, 50%. And then take go lower. And I always forget, it doesn't necessarily have to go lower, right? It can consolidate. So because of that major move last week, price could actually push lower, push higher, and just consolidate. So there's no, 100% guarantee that it's going to retrace, that it's going to move lower or move higher. It could just literally consolidate in this area. So that's my analysis on crude oil. I will be looking for shorts. And if I was going to look for longs, it would just be scalps because I feel like the overall objective on crude is bearishness. So I wouldn't want to hold. I wouldn't suggest holding longs in this environment unless you see a really good opportunity. I would say stay with the trend, the intraday trend. So if the intraday trade is longs, then yes, go with longs. But if the overall trend intraday is shorts, just short it. It's not worth losing accounts or being in drawdown by going against the trend. Next is gold. Okay, so last week gold made a new all-time high. It pushed to, again, this is gold continuous chart. It pushed to 3201.6. Wow, I can't believe that gold is at 32. I expected gold to hit 3,000 and possibly reverse, right, for longer. But because, again, the change in the market, if in fact we are going into the recession, in fact there's going to be tariffs, then gold is considered a safe haven. And so if that's the case, then it's a possibility that gold will continue to push higher. But if anyone that's been trading gold, so gold is one of my newer instruments. I started trading gold actually around this time last year. So I'm still learning the ebbs and flow of this instrument. But again, that's not the point of this video. Today is my weekly forecast. So because I have watched gold over the course of a year, I know that every time gold hits an all-time high, it usually does a rejection and pulls back. So because it hit all-time high due to, to tariffs announcement, this is this pullback. So I expect it to pull back a little bit more before it moves higher. So this week, I will be looking for it to push a little bit lower. I have on this chart, this weekly busy. Now, it doesn't have to, right? It doesn't have to go here, but that's what I'm looking at, an area to target. Let's just put the fibs on here to see if this is a possible target. Yes, this could be a possible target because if you do the fibs, at least how I anchor my fibs, from the swing low to high, I could see it coming back. I like the 62.70 area. Sometimes price even goes to 79, but this is usually my ideal area for a retracement. And granted, since weekly is a very high time frame level, it could simply just retrace into this area and just a strong bounce, higher. Because you know that when gold is ready to run, it could run 300, 400, 500 ticks in one day easily. So that's a possibility. So yes, I'm looking for gold to continue pushing a little bit lower because again, it took out created an all-time high and then pull back. But this is on the weekly, right? Let's go to the daily chart. So this is on the daily. Okay, the same thing here. This is how Friday was NFP, and we create a low of 3,032.7. That's the low Friday. And so I am looking for, yes, I'm looking for price to continue a little lower before it goes higher. Overall, I'm still bullish on gold because again, gold can continue going higher given the geopolitical news environment that's happening. So overall, I am bullish. Unlike crude oil, I am bullish on gold. So I will say with gold intraday, if the trend is to the upside, to longs, just go long. Do not try to fight the trend. I have done that several times and have blown accounts or been in, extreme drawdown. It's not worth it, literally. Or if you don't want to go long because you really just, you like shorts, either just stay on the sideline or wait for an opportunity where you do see a nice short or trade another instrument that you like that is offering sells. But if when gold is offering sells, take it. But if it's not and you don't want to go long, leave it alone and find another instrument. In this particular case, I do believe that gold will pull back a little bit more before it goes higher. So I'm looking for lower prices even on here. Even with this push up, this little retracement, I'm still looking for a little bit lower. Now it can come a little bit lower here. It can come into this area and pull back and retrace into this. So let's do, this is on a daily. Yeah, see, daily is already at like the 79 level. But yeah, I'm still looking. Well, on a daily, it actually looks like it could go still lower. I'm still will be looking for this area to take out. Because if it actually comes out here, then this will be a change in the state of delivery. Just realize that if this price comes down to this area, that will look like a change in state of delivery on the daily chart. So I might not do that. Yeah, I might not do that. I may actually come here, and retrace. That's a possibility too. Yeah, there's a possibility too that I can come here and then push higher. So yeah, it doesn't even need to actually come into this area. It actually can just push a little bit lower here and then go higher. Let me look at what happened in another 4 hour. Yeah, it's actually on a nice level. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I might actually be wrong with this. I was thinking that it would possibly go lower, but now when I'm looking at it on the lower time, well, I should say there's still high time frame in the daily and a 4 hour gap. I actually could see the possibility of it actually bouncing from this area and possibly retracing to this 3102.6 actually, and then probably pushing higher. Because I can't say that this is just the high of the year or the high of, this quarter, right? Because every time you think it's the high, time you think that an instrument put in a high, sometimes it could go even higher. Look at this, like you thought, oh, okay, and then price push up higher. So I would say this. I can see it two or three ways actually. I can see price creating a CID by closing below this area on low, coming back in here. I also can see price bouncing from here, going into this gap that you see on the 4 hour, and then going higher. Yeah, so at this moment, I would say wait, and this is a wait and see. See what happens on Sunday and Monday to determine how you will play it. But I think it was up to me. I would just wait to see what happens on Sunday, Monday to make sure I'm trading the right side. Okay, and next is NQ. NQ, the big dog indices. So I have been bearish on NQ since February, to be honest. And two of my targets hit this week. I had a target at this area. I think it was like 18.8. I was telling my trading friends. And my second target was 17, I think 17.8. And so both hit this week. And so once those targets hit, I was like, I don't know where else the market's gonna go for now. But price hit my bearish targets. But as I look closely, as I look at this chart, I am still bearish. I feel like there's nothing on this chart showing me bullishness. I would have to see a market structure shift and price moving, market structure shift and bullish intention for me to change my bias to bullishness. Until then, I'm looking for lower. Now, we know with indices, we know with any futures instrument, right? Price doesn't just keep going lower, right? Price retraces, just like it did last week, right? Last Friday, price was lower, and it pushed higher, right? Pushed higher Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then the tariff announcements, and that's when price started pushing lower. What I'm expecting this week is that tomorrow, which is Sunday, price will push lower. I'm looking at price to possibly push into this area. Now, I know people are going to be frightened by that, right? Because we're ready. If you look at where we are, the high from here, we're already pushed. It's about 22%, right? We're 20% down from the highs of February 18th. So yeah, that might be frightening for some. But yeah, so I'm looking for price to push lower. And the reason why I'm basing it on, again, I'm bearish. I'm also considering the geopolitical news that's happening with the tariffs and possible trade war, and just our economy is not strong, the government layoffs. It's just a lot that's happening in the news lately that I believe is affecting the market, as well as, we've been waiting a while for a correction. The market has you know, ran for a while. And so now it needs this correction, right, in order for us to eventually move higher. So am I expecting big bullish runs this month? No. I think it will come, but I don't believe it's happening this month. Do I believe that we possibly will have like a short term rally? Possible, right? Because we already dropped 22%. And in order to, avoid a major like, Black Monday or stock crash that we experienced in 2020, 2018, 2008, you know, I think that it will rebound some. So I'm looking for a price to come down to this area and then a retrace. So when I had my bearish target last week, I think around this area, 17, I was expecting like a V-shaped recovery. But then price continued to push lower. So now I'm like, okay, maybe once it sweeps this low, comes into this SIBI, then there's a possibility that price could push higher. But again, for Sunday, I'm expecting lower prices. This is a strong bearish candle with a tiny wick, but it's very strong. It's selling like strong sell pressure, selling pressure. So yeah, I'm looking for a possible here before we push higher, retrace into this area to go to go lower. Now there's a possibility that price will price will push here, then go here, right? I think everyone will love that, right? Everyone will love for us to just go higher, higher, higher. Again, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon, but you can always be optimistic. But yeah, I'm looking for price to push a little lower here, and then we retrace into this area for next week. So there is a bull and bear case, meaning the bullishness could be short term, some more selling in the meantime. But I think that the bulls and bears can eat next week. And also too, there's also the possibility that we consolidate because of this strong move to the downside. We might have some breathing room, but given the fact that this upcoming week we have CPI, PPI, and FOMC minutes, again it could be another volatile week. So just be prepared for that. Trade carefully. Make sure you have your stops. You have good risk management. You have your stops in place just in case the market decides to drop or just in case the market starts to rally. You don't want to be you don't want to be in serious drawdown. You don't want to blow your accounts. You want to just try your best to manage your risk in this very volatile market because anything can change now. So again, to give a quick recap, NQ, I believe, is still overall bearish market. Crude oil, overall bearish market. Gold is bullish. I think there's opportunities for bear and bull for NQ. And when I say bear and bull, I'm meaning that intraday, there's an opportunity to buy, to sell. I think there's opportunity, and depending on the sessions, if you trade New York, there might be that New York could be the session that we buy, right? There you can go long, or London could be the session that you can go long and hold. So depending on the sessions you trade will depend on whether you go long or short. But again, the overall market for me is bearish, and I do see us coming down. This is my prediction beyond just this week. I believe, I know this might be terrifying for those, but I do think that we can actually go lower. I think that I think our current president could push us into a 30% plus decline, which will be considered a stock crash. I think that is coming, unless things change. But I do think that there's gonna be more blood in the streets. I think that's the how it goes. More blood in the streets. So yeah. So just be prepared. Yeah, be prepared for more selling. I don't know if it's gonna be aggressive selling like this past week, but just be prepared to, probably short the market more than buying the market. And just as a bonus, let me just bring up ES. Let's look at ES really quickly. Sometimes it's doing the same thing. It's a strong, like, strong candle, strong weekly candle, right? Selling pressure. And right now, just from the all-time high here, we're down about 17. This is weekly. Looks like we're about, like, ES is about less than 18% down. And if the president wants the market to continue lower, and given all the geopolitical news, ES could possibly enter into a bearish market as well. And that will be what, 20% plus. And if that is the case, then this is next. My target for ES this week actually is, I think that ES can push to 5,000 and lower. I think that, my prediction is that I think we can actually reach 5,000 for sure. That's how I feel. And I wouldn't be surprised if we push even to 49, or 48 is a reach. 48 may be later on, but I wouldn't be surprised if we make it down in this area either this week or, in the upcoming weeks. Because again, I think we're definitely heading into a bearish market, more so recession at this point. So yeah, so my targets, this will be another target, 5,049, and then 48. That's not my target for the next week. This is my target the next week. For NQ, I didn't even mention my targets, but essentially my target is 16. It'll be like 16.9, probably 17,000. That's my target for NQ. Let me just, and this is a recap, my target for CL lows. I think we can get into the 50s, the high 50s this week. 59, 58, 59, around this thing. I think we can get into this area. And then as for gold, I am thinking I'm looking at 3,000. It's probably possibly going under 3,000 and then ending up back to 3,100. And I don't know if we'll make a new high, this all-time high this week, but I do see us coming back into this area for next week. So I believe that we will stay in this area for next week. So that is it for me today. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think. And what's your prediction for this week? Until next time.